announcing, this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Hello my friends, this is Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. And as you can see by today's opening clip there, we're going to be talking about, well, the digital ID. Keir Starmer, UK Prime Minister, came right out and said by the end of his cabinet, which is 2029, he wants to have this digital ID mandatory for you to have a job. But chances are this is going to be implemented a lot sooner than 2029. I think he's saying it's going to be in place by now till then. And I think the sooner the better with these folks, because the longer they wait, the more resistance there will be. So this is coming, my friends. It's already here, if we're being honest. But it's just going to the next level. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the digital ID and how it's already in place in more ways than you would think, and what's coming to the rest of the world as well. And I'll also be telling you about an experience I just had at a United States airport, which I'd say the digital ID is already set in place at the airports already. So let's just get right into this, my friends. Just going to encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. As I say, subscribe to survive, and also smash the like button as well, as it helps old Linol out with the algorithms. It makes it so you see my videos when they come out, because I'm heavily shadow banned, alright? So let's just get right into it. So, that's right, my friends. Keir Starmer comes out and makes that big announcement. You're not going to be able to work unless you have the digital ID. Alright? And why? Oh, because they're using the whole immigration thing. There's too many illegal immigrants in the UK who are working, and to combat that, to make sure it's only legal people working, you're going to have a digital ID. Problem, reaction, solution. What did the government do? Okay, in all countries, all Western countries, they let in millions of illegal immigrants. Look at the United States. Biden just opens the borders, lets them all flood in, all by design. Same with Canada. We're loaded as well. And now, all these problems are breaking out because of it. A lot of our countries are going to shit, let's be honest. And they know that, so now all of a sudden, all the world leaders suddenly have a change of tune. Even the Bilderberg, Mark Carney, Canada's Prime Minister, our new Prime Minister, who's obviously an elitist, even he's talking against illegal immigrants and stuff like that, how it's a big problem, we got to crack down on it. Obviously you have Trump coming in, putting his foot down, and Keir Starmer, oh, we got to fix this, right? But they are just NWO puppets too. And this is the problem, reaction, solution. The same elite class allows this to happen, and then they put in the enforcers, say, we gotta fix it. What's the solution? Digital ID, AI, surveillance. That is the solution, my friends. Okay? All these brainwashed Trump turds sitting there like, oh, Trump is going to deal with things. He's going to make things better. He's coming in. Well, how's Trump going to deal with the situation? Let's see what he just announced a couple days ago at the United Nations. Take a look.
Announcing today that my administration will lead an international effort to enforce biological weapons convention, which is going to be meeting with the top leaders of the world by pioneering an AI verification system that everyone can trust. Hopefully the UN can play a constructive role, and it will also be one of the early projects under AI. Let's see how good it is, because a lot of people are saying it could be one of the great things ever, but it also can be dangerous. But it can be put to tremendous use and tremendous good, and this would be an example of that.
There you go. He is calling on the United Nations to help assist the United States in their new AI verification system. Notice how he didn't say digital ID, because they know that people don't like that term. So instead, AI verification system. It's the same damn thing. What's the AI going to be verifying? It's going to be verifying who you are. It's a digital ID. And he's calling upon the NWO, United Nations, to help assist them in getting this going. Something that everyone can trust. Oh, yeah. But then he even says right after that there are dangers. But it's going to be great. It's going to be the best thing we've ever seen. Do you guys trust AI? Okay, are you going to trust the digital ID? Like, I'm talking straight to the Trump supporters here. The government-worshipping Trump supporters who, for some reason, they think they're awake to the NWO, but they still trust government just because their cult leader told them what they want to hear. Are you guys going to go and get your digital IDs? Are you guys going to comply with the system just because your savior, Zion Dawn, says, oh, it's good. This is good. It's an AI you can trust verification system. Oh, okay, that's all I need to know. Donald would never lie to me. Sign me up. Are you that naive? And if the answer is no, if you're still going to be like, you know what, no, I still don't trust it. I don't want anything to do with digital ID, even if Trump is pushing it, then why do you support Trump still? He's pushing the NWO agenda. Wake up. What's wrong with you? Yeah, this is tough love. Sick of it. See, this guy could do anything he wants. Cover up for PDF files and human trafficking, Jeffrey Epstein client lists. And people still support him, thinking that he's against the powers that be. It's pathetic. Anyways, I'm not going to go down a big rant about that again. But come on. The AI dystopian nightmare agenda is being enrolled and enforced shortly all over the world, all at the same time. Do you guys notice this? So the European Union, is set to start rolling out their digital ID as soon as this October, this month. Okay? It's going to start rolling out over the course of the next couple of years. All right? All around the world. Not just that, even my own province of Alberta in Canada. Danielle Smith. Everybody thought, oh yeah, she's against the NWO, when she became our premier, so that's like a governor or whatever, right, of the province. She was against the, the things they wanted you to get, was upset about the lockdowns and the passports, the thing they wanted you to get passports, was against all that, spoke a lot about freedom and stuff like that. But now she comes out just the other day and announces digital ID cards, pretty much. That it's going to be a digital ID program. And yeah, you might even get physical cards you could hold, but it's got a chip and it's going to have all your digital information. Obviously, you'll have it on the phone too if you wish to. But it's going to be connected to an app where you could access all government services all in one. So you're eventually going to need to have that to access your health care, your welfare, like for people who are on social assistance programs, people who are on pensions and stuff. That is the digital ID. It's all going to be connected to that. That is the agenda. And eventually, universal basic income is going to be rolled out, because AI is going to take over everybody's jobs and people aren't going to be able to afford to even live. Already, we see with inflation and everything, people are struggling. So that is coming. And obviously, you're going to need to have a digital ID set up to the new stablecoin or CBDC, depending where you're at, where you live. And to get access to that, you're going to need to have the digital ID. So they're rolling it out already. compartmenting everything all into one. Okay, so eventually it'll all be in one app, and you're going to be using that for everything. Which, yes, it's more convenient, but once they add on the carbon credit scores to see how much carbon you're tracking, and the social credit scores on top of it, and the universal basic income, and your currencies, it's going to be your bank as well. Once that all rolls out, it's just going to be a way to control us even further and stop any resistance at all against any of their agendas. Okay? And eventually might even be able to enforce you to take those things they want you to get, because it's going to be connected to your health records. So Alberta, with Freedom Danielle Smith, already announced that's coming next year, 2026. So we got the EU doing it possibly this October, Alberta announcing for 2026, and obviously it's going to roll out across the rest of Canada. We got Keir Starmer saying that it's going to be, by the end of his parliament, it's going to be imminently, my friends. Just the other day, Vietnam launched the digital IDs and froze over 86 million bank accounts of people who did not comply. Oh, you don't want to get the digital ID app and program? We're just going to freeze your account, your bank account. No more access to your bank. That just happened. All right. Of course, I think Australia has already rolled theirs out. There's many countries around the world who've already rolled out this system. And as you can see, though, a lot of these Western countries are starting to go forward and roll them out now. All right? It's already happening. Now, good news is there is some resistance to it. I believe the United Kingdom is organizing tons of protests and stuff like that for non-compliance. I still feel that if you didn't want to comply to this stuff, you should have started a long time ago. Seems like humans like to leave it to the last second, and I don't know how successful these events will be. Sure, it's better than nothing, but I feel that they already have the system set in place, and it's going to be very easy to enforce it, and I don't think these little small protests are going to do anything. However, I do encourage people to do their best not to comply the best they can, and maybe we could get some of these human right violations dealt with, or maybe reduced in the severity of what's going to be rolled out, at least for a period of time. We got to try our best. But at the end of the day, this system has already been rolled out, and this whole digital ID situation, what they want to launch, it's just organizing this control system a little bit more. But the digital ID has already been here for years, and everyone's already complied with it. And I'm going to give you guys some examples, and then I'm going to tell you about my airport story, okay? So the examples I first want to share with you guys is, let me ask you something. Do you have a social media right now? First off, do you have a smartphone? Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has a phone, let's be honest. Unless you're freaking 90 years old or you're homeless. But everybody has phones now, okay? So if you have a phone, and then if you have a social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, anything, even YouTube, guess what? You have a digital friggin' ID. Do you have a bank? Do you have a debit card? Do you have a credit card? Guess what? It's all digital, isn't it? You could go on your online banking. You could see every purchase you've made. And if you went to the bank and took out cash, you could see the cash you took out. Okay? It's already being tracked and traced. You have a social media? Guess what? Every post you've ever made already in the database. Even if you delete your account, they still have access to all those records. And did you know that even if you posted something years ago, they could still access that and give you penalties and consequences, even if you posted a meme 8 years ago? Because like I said, it's saved in the database. I just was watching a video the other day. This guy who got in politics in Belgium, he started fighting against the illegal immigrants all coming in and taking a big stand against the NWO and whatnot, and they kicked him out of politics, and they're trying to send him to jail for 1 year. Why? Because of a meme. He didn't even post it on social media. He sent it in the messenger box to a friend from 8 years ago, and for a meme, he got kicked out of politics for 10 years and is facing 1 year in prison. And already, all around the world, people are going to jail for memes, okay, that they posted on social media. Okay, people are getting debanked in Canada. You post something that's wrong online, next thing you know, your bank account gets shut down. Oh, how did this happen? Digital ID, my friends, because you're on social media, you're posting stuff, the social credit score, everything, it's already here without having to have the little app. This is the digital ID, so congratulations. You're on social media, you have an online presence, you're being tracked, you're being traced, and you're part of the digital ID already. They already have a profile on you. It's just not publicly known. People just aren't aware of it, but it's already here. Do you talk to AI? Guess what? AI is taking all your conversations you've ever had with it. Even every Google search you've ever made, stored in an AI database. Oh, that's right, my friends. Like I said, digital ID is already here. You're being tracked and traced. Your location, everywhere you go, you're being tracked and traced. All right? Your face is on the internet. If you post pictures of yourself on Facebook, AI facial recognition software has already scanned your face, put you in the system. You touch your phone, guess what? Your fingerprints. The phone has them. Your biometrics, they already have it. Many people even use that to get into their phone, facial recognition or their thumbprint. All right? When you go out in public, you go to a government building, anywhere, your face, there's cameras already have the facial recognition. You're already scanned, you're already in the system. There's already such thing as a digital ID. So I'll tell you what, my friends. Okay, you say you don't want to comply or you're not going to comply? Well, I'm challenging you to really put it where it counts, okay? To really prove yourself is what I'm trying to say. If you don't want to comply, then cancel or delete all your social media accounts right now. Okay? Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, everything. Get rid of it all. Take it a step further. Throw away your phone because you're being tracked and traced digitally every step of the way. Do your best to try and cancel your social insurance number and do everything you can just to opt out of the system 100%. That's right. Go off grid and live totally separate of the system because that's the only way you can not comply and see how well you do. Okay? But until then, all this, I refuse to comply. I'm sorry, my friends, you've already complied. And I'm not getting mad at you for doing it. Like I said, I've complied myself too, but I'm just trying to bring reality to the situation. Just to show people how far along this agenda already is. Alright? We need to be aware of the situation and the reality we're in because a lot of people, frankly, don't understand how far into this agenda we already are and how we've already complied. People got to realize that. And people also have to realize that this whole non-compliance thing is also being pushed by controlled opposition too. What do they say? To control the opposition, we need to lead it. Okay? And what do I mean by that? Well, guess what? We have guys like Boris Johnson. Look, this is Boris Johnson, the UK former Prime Minister, who was the Prime Minister during the pandemic, who enforced those things they want you to get, passports, which is all connected to this beast digital ID system. And he's making tweets saying that he won't comply with the digital ID when we know he's an NWO shill? How about this? Ted Cruz posting saying he's not going to comply with it and that it's the mark of the beast. And we know Ted Cruz is a proud Mason. And I'm not saying all Freemasons are bad, because they're not. There's a lot of good Masons out there who don't understand the evil that's going on, or the deeper agendas that the higher elites know. But there definitely are some very bad Masons who are at the higher levels who do know what's going on. And anybody who's in a high place in government like Ted Cruz, let's just say this, I don't trust him one bit. I know he's pushed the NWO agenda on many levels. So he knows damn right, but I'm not going to comply. You got Governor DeSantis saying it's never going to happen in Florida. Oh, I've made a whole video exposing him before and his connections to the elite agendas. He's a Zionist, my friends. Oh, yeah. So we have NWO shills coming out. We're not going to comply. Which shows me it's a misdirection. I think this whole situation, both them pushing digital IDs and even the opposition to it, I believe it's just a big diversion some way. And why? Because they want people distracted with this little app, digital ID app or whatever, Meanwhile, they're implementing the system already, and you've already complied, and you're already in that beast system. They don't need a little app or something like that to have you on a digital ID. They've already done it, and they're just distracting you. Okay? You guys got to realize how deep we are into this already. Let's get to my airport story. So I just left Mexico to come to Europe. And in Mexico, I had to go to Minneapolis, United States, to transfer to go on a plane to Amsterdam. I haven't been to a United States airport in a long time, years. Usually I just go straight from Canada to Europe. Okay? And let me tell you this. The United States airport is the most NWO airport I've ever been to. Americans, you guys crack me up, okay? And not all of you. I know a lot of you are awake. But so many Americans like to think that they're free. Oh, this is the land of the free. Oh, I'm glad I'm an American. I got so much freedoms here. You guys don't know what freedom is. You guys are one of the most NWO-controlled countries in the world, if you ask me. So we get there, and as soon as we land, we had to go through a facial recognition scan, okay, just to get into the bag area. So we have to go there, and I do believe, this is for United States citizens, I do believe you guys can refuse, okay? I believe it's optional for United States citizens, but and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure if you're not from the United States, you have to. They just won't let you in if you don't, okay? I could be wrong. Check, research for yourself. But I do know for Europe, like when I go to Europe now, they're introducing this whole new system this year. EES and ETIAS comes a little bit later on next year, where you have to give fingerprints and stuff like that. But they are introducing facial scans that you got to get done, and that you cannot refuse. If you're an EU citizen, you can refuse and speak to a border agent, but if you're not, they'll just say, okay, you're not coming in, you got to go back home. Okay, so I'm thinking if I'm a Canadian citizen, it's probably the same. I can't enter the United States if I refuse that, but I could be wrong. I haven't checked for United States, but I just assumed it was like Europe. So I just said whatever. I already know if I'm in an airport, my face is getting scanned anyways, against my consent. They got cameras everywhere that do the same thing. So I sit there, get the face scan, and it literally said on the monitor underneath digital ID. I swear to God, I saw it real quick, because you just get scanned, you go, but I saw the word digital ID on there, okay? So you'd think, okay, that's it, you got your face scan, that's it. Then we had to go speak to the border guard after that anyways, and he looked at the passport. He took Monica's fingerprints, didn't take mine, but since she's from the EU, I guess they want their fingerprints, but since I'm from Canada, they didn't need it. And I believe they scanned our faces again, okay? And then, okay, we get in, and then we go to our plane for Amsterdam. And I've never seen this before. So, when you're actually boarding the plane, okay, they want to get everybody's facial recognition again, a third time. So we're standing in line, and I speak to some lady who's boarding on the plane. She says to me, and she's an American citizen, and she says, I've never seen this before. Like, before you even get on the plane, they're doing it too. And we had a good conversation about how the United States is going to shit, and it's the invasion of privacy and stuff. And she says, I wish I could move to Canada. I says, well, do you know what? No, it's not too much better here, but at least in Canada, you don't have to get your face scanned just to get on the airplane right before. Like, why do they need 3 facial scannings? Okay, so there you go. And she even said to me she's never seen this before, which means this wasn't rolled out during Biden. And don't get me wrong, Biden is an NWO piece of poop, okay? But this just goes to show, if you think that Trump is for freedom and cares about your rights and is some kind of freedom president, you're delusional. The AI, NWO, dystopian nightmare agenda is progressing at a much faster pace with Zion Dawn at the footsteps of it all. He is gladly pushing this through to push through his golden age that he's bragging about. He wants to lead the world in AI. And of course, he used this whole immigration thing to his advantage to push these agendas. He's cracking down, bringing the justice, right? You're sacrificing your freedoms for peace and safety or whatever, to keep the immigrants out. We need AI, and also for voting. There's so much voter election fraud, so let's bring in a digital ID for that too, to verify your identity so you could vote. That's why they orchestrated a whole rigged election and made that such a big thing, because it was all to bring in digital ID. Alright, so when you go to the airports and you got to get all this stuff done, guess what? You already have a digital ID. You're in the system. And when you're walking in a public place, they, just like in the movies, they could do the facial recognition. It pops up your name, where you live, everything about you. And if you're on any lists or anything, if you're any kind of threat to the powers that be, it's all contained there. And don't think, I haven't traveled in years, so it doesn't apply to me. I'm never going to travel again. I'm going to resist the digital ID. Guess what? I've heard people say that. So funny. I've heard people say that, I'm not going to comply with that. If that happens, I'm just not going to travel, and blah, 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 okay? I'm not going to get the digital ID. I'll just get other people to buy food for me and this and that. Yeah, it's not going to work that way. Sorry. Not going to work that way. Nobody else is going to be able to buy food for you. They're going to be connected to the social credit score. And if it comes about that they're buying food for somebody else, they're going to get their social credit score dinged, because that's going to be against the rules. You want to buy food, the only way you'll be able to is if you consent and comply to this. And it's funny, the exact same people who tell me that stuff, I see that when they go on their phone, guess what? They're using facial recognition and scanning their fingerprints to get on their phone still. I'm not going to go to the airport and give my facial recognition and give my fingerprints. No way, I'm not going to comply with that. Hold on, I got a text message. Apple could have that information, though. Apple's okay. It's not like Apple is connected to the NWO or digital IDs or anything. Roll my eyes to that. You already consented. You already complied. So don't get me wrong. It's great. People don't want to comply. They want to protest. They want to resist now. Once it's already too late. Once they've already complied on all other aspects. They all got their phones. They're already in the system. But now, you're going to have it to work, this or that. Now we're going to put up a fight. Well, better late than never, I guess. But it's going to be very, very easy for the powers that be to get this pushed through. Because even though there might be a little resistance by a few thousand people who show up to a protest, and yeah, maybe in the beginning a lot of people won't want to download the app or do this and stuff, all they have to do is create a crisis crash the dollar, destroy the dollar, make people desperate to the point they're about to lose everything. They can't pay rent, they can't buy food, and then come out with the solution and be like, we're going to give you guys free money, universal basic income, 2,000 euros, 2,000 pounds, $2,000 a month to help you survive so you could buy food, so you don't have to lose your house, but you have to have the digital ID. That's all it will take. One little crisis, make people desperate, incentivize them, and 99.99% of people will comply because they're desperate, and that 0.1% who are like, I die on this hill, I'm not going to comply, I'm not going to do it, that small percent of people, more power to you. More power to you. But they could care less. You'll be cast over the new system, you'll be left to starve. This is the brutal truth, my friends. So what's the solution, you may be saying? Lionel, I'm getting depressed listening to you. What are we going to do here? Because never forget, in the future, you will need the digital ID for everything. Food, water, to pay for your house mortgage, rent, to pay bills, taxes, to work. You're going to need it, or else you're just cast out of society, left to die. So what's the solution? Well, it's very interesting because what Keir Starmer says is you're going to need the digital ID to work. But he says, hey, if you don't need to work, then you don't have to have it, okay? So you got to find a solution where you don't have to work. And obviously in the future, even to access government services, like a hospital. If you're dying, you got to go to the hospital, you're going to need a digital ID. So that's kind of a scary prospect. But in the meantime, my plan is just to take care of my health the best I can so I don't need to go to the doctors. That's my goal anyways. But I don't plan on working ever again, personally, once all this stuff rolls out. So how am I going to look at, say, Lionel, how are you going to take care of yourself? Well, right now we do have a unique opportunity where we could invest in the new financial system that is currently being rolled out. This is not financial advice. And if you guys are a regular follower of mine, you've heard me say this many times in my recent videos. So I'm not going to go into it too far. But I'm just saying what I think a possible temporary solution. I'm not saying they could screw this up for us later down the road too. But at the moment, like I said, there is an opportunity to invest whatever savings you do have. Get it the hell out of the bank. Not financial advice, but get it out of the bank. All that's happening is it's losing its value as they continue to crash the dollar and deflate your currencies. It's losing value. Why the hell would you want to have a big savings sitting in a bank, which one day, one crisis happens, there'll be bank runs, you won't be able to access your money. Like, try going to your bank right now and asking for $100,000. They don't have it, So why not start transferring it out and becoming your own bank and investing in crypto, in the new financial system? Not financial advice, but that's what old Lionel's doing. XRP, XLM, HBAR, Bitcoin, all these different cryptos, XDC, look up the ISO 2022 cryptos, okay? These are 222, I should say. These are all the cryptos that are going to be used in the new financial system. And right now we got a unique opportunity. We're investing a portion of your savings or whatever into this. Might make you extremely rich. We're talking multi-millionaire in the near future if you do things properly. Again, not financial advice. Do your own research. Start researching XRP, okay, my friends? That's my favorite one that I do believe is going to be rolling out. Oh yeah, maybe part of the beast system, but guess what? Cash is part of the beast system. People act like cash is so holy and everything. Cash has enslaved humanity, printed by the Federal Reserve and been used by the NWO for hundreds of years now, and you want to act like cash is some great savior? It's part of the beast system that you've complied and you've used. It's going away now, so we got to adjust. Even though we don't like it, what other option? Your option is to do nothing and get switched over to the stable coin, which will be connected to the CBDC system, and be a good little slave. Get your universal basic income and be a little bitch of the government. Do whatever you have to do so you could get your little stable coin and you could be a slave. Or you could invest now and you could become part of the 1% and become wealthy. And guess what? You think that the powers that be who are right now investing in XRP and other cryptos, all these billionaires and stuff who are putting all their money into it, you think they're going to be on the digital ID system? No. That's for the peasants. That's for the poor. That's for the useless eaters. They are going to be transacting on entirely different rails, okay? And that is the creme de la creme. That is the cryptos that the new system are going to be run on. The peasants, the useless eaters, they get the stable coins. They get the CBDC. The elites aren't going to be using that system. They're going to be using the other system, which you could actually invest in right now. Okay? But most of humanity isn't smart enough to do that. So it's not a big deal for them, and even if some people do that, it's not too big of a deal, you know. They let some people get rich within the system as long as the majority aren't doing it. I think only 2% of humanity is invested in crypto. So it's not too big of a deal for them. So you have that unique opportunity right now to switch over, make that pivot. So in the future, yeah, guess what? Money's going to buy anything. Money will buy you freedom, believe it or not. When you got money, you could pay your way out of almost anything if you got millions and millions and millions just sitting there. Okay? And you won't have to be transacting on that stablecoin. You're not going to be dependent on having to have a digital ID so you could work a job. You're not going to need a job. You're going to have the money from investment. Okay? Not financial advice. I don't know if this is the way it's going to go on. Is there going to be a way they're going to screw people over their crypto? I don't know. That's up to you to do your own research, make your own decisions. But that's what old Linol's doing. My future, my timeline is going to be a good one. And I'm manifesting that. I'm not going down that AI beast system timeline. I'm going to resist this digital ID myself the most I can about having an app on your phone and everything, but hey, I'll be the first to admit I've already complied on many levels, such as I have Facebook, I have social media, I'm out there. Yes, when I'm at the airport, not because I wanted to, but I had to get the face scan done. I go into public places. It's pretty much unavoidable at this point. So do the best you can to not comply when you can. We will do our best to try and install as much freedom as we can into this new system and do not consent where we can, okay? But fact of the matter is, and no, I'm not controlled opposition. I've had people say, you sound like controlled opposition these days. No, I just tell you the truth. I tell you the brutal friggin' truth, whether you want to accept it or not. I guarantee you, all you people saying, oh, I'm controlled opposition, you've already complied with the goddamn system. 100% you have a Facebook, 100% you use a debit card and all that. Congratulations, you've already joined the digital ID system. Okay? I just tell you what you don't like to hear. I'm just being realistic with you guys. It's something we can't avoid. You could try to bullshit yourself and, oh, humanity's going to rise up. Sorry. At this point in time, the best we could do is try and limit the damage being done, but they've already implemented the digital ID system. It's already here. You want to talk so much about stopping it? You didn't stop it. It's here, and it's too late to go back now. You got to hope for a huge solar flare that's going to wipe out all technology for 1,000 years. That's your only chance at stopping this at this point, at which point 90% of humans will die anyways. So is what it is, okay? Deal with it. But now, figure out how you could navigate in the new beast system so you could have more freedoms. That's what it's about. We're trying to figure out, now that it's here, what can I do? What is the solution so that I'm not going to be a peasant on the CBDC. I'm not going to be in this new system. So I won't have to be reliant on government handouts and whatnot. And for me, the only thing that makes sense at this point, the only hope we have, is investing into the real money itself, which is going to be in the cryptos, so that we won't have to submit and be a slave. Because from what I've researched and what I've come to understand is the elites want to depopulate the people they consider useless eaters. Alright? And the useless eaters are exactly that. The peasants, the people who don't contribute anything to society, or the people who are just poor in general. So perhaps if there is an opportunity to make wealth within the simulation, which many people have through crypto already, or people in the past stocks, or just successful businesses, stuff like that, believe it or not, the elites respect some of the humans who are able to not be useful eaters. Okay, and I've heard that before, that the elites, they actually respect the humans who are intelligent and who do delve into stuff about hidden knowledge and stuff, and who aren't just your basic brainwashed idiot. And if they're smart enough to make it in the financial system, it's very possible they will leave those alone who do well for themselves, and might say, okay, you know what, this person isn't a useless eater. They're just focused on eliminating the useless eaters with the digital ID CBDC stablecoin system. So who knows? Maybe that is the solution. Just do well for yourself. Show that you have the intelligence. Remove all your consent against any infractions against your own personal rights, physically speaking and whatnot. And perhaps they will leave you alone because they see, hey, this person isn't a useless eater. And there'll still be limitations too, but it'll be a lot more easier, I feel, if you have money than opposed to if you are dependent on the government handouts and that system. And just do your best to live your life, become the best version of yourself. I think that's all we could really do. Okay. So that's it for today's video. I'm done ranting. This just turned into one long rant. I hope you guys enjoy it. That's about it. So if you guys like my work and you want to help support the channel, feel free to buy me a coffee. I am on the website, Buy Me a Coffee. That's right, my friends. It all helps me continue to bring you guys this content. And of course, I always like to give back, and I'll even send you free Patreon videos to your email. The link is down below in the description. My video from Mexico is coming out, my friends, right after this. I'm thinking October 1st. I have it all recorded and everything. I just got to edit it. And then you guys are going to see me exposing these dirty, filthy, rotten reptilian toad tears at Chichen Itza pyramids. That's right, I even get in a little argument with Chalk, the rain god, and he starts raining all on me. What am I talking about? You'll see in the video. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, that's coming next, okay, my friends? So that's it for today's video. You guys take care of yourselves, and let's just hope for the best, shall we? Lionel, signing off.